guys, M.V.K back again. Welcome back, my pack. And today, I'm finally doing it for you guys. I'm finally doing it for you. You guys have been asking me countless times, hey, Chris, have you seen it? Did you watch it? What did you think? That show that you guys have been asking me about is The Witcher. The Witcher. A little coin for The Witcher. Huh? Yeah, you guys have been asking me about it, and I can finally say, yes, I did watch it. Yes, I completed it last week. Last Friday, actually. Yeah, last Friday or last Thursday, one of them days, I finished it. I sat down, I had the time. I was like, you know what? Sit down, let's watch this. Had a little popcorn by my side with a big thing of iced tea, and I just sat and watched this movie, watched this show I started at 3, and I think I ended it at 9 or 8 because there were times I had to go to the bathroom and stuff. But overall, guys, I'm here to talk about my overview of Season 1 of The Witcher. Now, once again, let me reiterate to all you fans out there and all my pack members, your Alpha is a new fan of The Witcher. Never read the books, never even played the games. How about that? Yeah, and your Alpha's a huge gamer, but did not play the games. So I was coming into this series fresh. The only thing I knew was Henry Cavill. I'm a big fan of Henry Cavill. Let's go. That's all I knew. And then seeing how he looked at Geralt, not Gerald, see, it's Geralt of Rivia, the White Wolf. I loved it. I do wish he had the beard, but it was like, all right, cool. But this series really brought me into the world of The Witcher, and it felt natural for me to adapt to it. I didn't really feel like, what's going on? There were a lot of friends that were saying, be careful, because there are times when the show's going to jump around. It's going to time jump, or it's going to jump in the past, and you may think it's the present or the future. And they were right, but I was able to get the grip a bit, and I'm like, okay, yes. And I loved it. I'm honest to God, loved it. Everything about it, the setting, the setting, the imagery of the Witcher world, how people view Witchers, how Geralt views himself, how he carries himself as a monster hunter, quote unquote, who is quote unquote technically not human himself. There were many times they were calling him a mutant that was made by magic and things like that. They kind of had a little bit of a mutant, like an X-Men vibe. Like, people didn't trust him. They were the first freaking, after he killed the monster in the swamp, the first thing he did when he came into the tavern, they were all like, we don't want your kind here. It was like, I'm like, god damn, like, what happened? Like, what is this? But the serious motion of how people view him made me more like, okay, then why does he do it? That's what I kept coming back to. Why does he do it? Before they started introducing the other characters into the series, that's how I was looking at it, like, okay, what? Why does he risk his life to protect these people when they shun him, call him names, things like this? Why? And we kind of got an understanding of it. But the world of witches and mages and magic, that really was interesting too. I loved how they showed the world of wizards and mages and sorcerers and witches, how that was portrayed was very, very intriguing. And all the characters that came in, none of them I didn't hate. there was some that got on my nerves, and I'll talk about one of them soon. But to see how the world views elves and this and that, it was just very interesting. Yennefer, one of the main characters in this franchise, what a series of metamorphosis she had throughout this whole series. Like, when we first see her, she's very much, it kind of felt the best way for me to describe Yennefer's story arc, or just story arc from this season, she kind of had that ugly duckling vibe, but also a vibe of trying to walk that line, but then can be easily pushed to the dark side, or easily pushed to more power, and we saw that in this as well. But like I said, the metamorphosis she had was crazy, but it was also you really felt for her. Like, in one point, like I said, she looked completely different from post Yennefer. Like, she was a hunchback at one point, and then she had like a kind of a really funky look to her, in terms of her facial expressions. I loved her eyes, though. She had purple eyes, where I really thought that was cool. But she was very hunchback, and her mother sold her, and it just was like, what the that kind of got to me. And then you got Ciri, who is the princess, who her mother has a past, and she's on a quest to find Geralt. Throughout this whole movie, this whole series, you're seeing her arc go through. And there's Geralt, who's just trying to do his thing as a Witcher, but also you just see from the past what things are like for him and how he's getting along. So, and then when his character runs in with Yennefer, and then it just becomes a situation of, whoa, like, okay, does he care? Does she care about him? Why is he doing this for her? Can he love? Because they always kept playing throughout this whole, they kept putting the emphasis on this series that Witchers have no feelings. They are like carved out of like stone, in a sense. Like they are emotionally husk. They are emotional husk. They show no feelings. They have no feelings. Nothing phases them. But we see throughout this that something, it does. He has feelings. Geralt has feelings. He does care. And his destiny, as everybody kept going on about, is like more to the fact of, hey, he's not just a badass monster hunting swordsman. He has feelings. He has a purpose in life, and we kind of get that same thing with Yennefer, but it's also a sense of like, you still see that she's still power hungry, and she has her reasons because of something that has happened to her, and it made it very interesting for me as someone who's never read or did anything of that this series is based off. I never played the games, never read the books. I was so gravitated to it. I was so intrigued by it. I'm like, okay, wow, this is really good. As for Henry Cavill, this man, his voice alone, I'm like, what did they amp his voice? Is that him really doing that? whatever it was amazing. And I just like, that's why he's so good. He's so good at what he does. And I respected that. The use of magic worked so well in this series. So we got to talk about the sword play. We got to talk about that, because I'm a big believer in practical effects, and if the character is a swordsman and they're using swords and things like that, and people go through training. Henry Cavill was using, I think that was a broadsword. He swung that broadsword like around just as good as Conan with the Hyperion Atlantis sword that he had. I was so impressed by Henry Cavill's swordsmanship in this, and everybody who used a sword. There were times I went back just to that first fight scene with Henry Cavill and the young. She wasn't a witch, but she was immune to magic, and she was trying to kill this sorcerer. This sorcerer, and she had a hostage, and it was the first episode. Right there alone, I loved it. Like, there was a scene where Henry Cavill and the same guys that were messing with him in the tavern are all trying to, shoot him, trying to hurt him, and he's just like, fuck. And he just picked, and the way he moved with that sword, it was just like, God damn, that was beautiful. I had to let's rewind that again, click it again. All right, here we go. Damn, that was good shit. Rewind again. Damn, and every time a sword came up with him fighting with the sword, it was great. His voice alone I'm like, his voice alone had you glued to the tube. For me personally, had me glued every time. I'm like, just him talking, I'm just, oh my God. The practical effects with the monsters, the special effects were great. I wish they showed more monsters. I understand probably why they didn't, but the monsters they did show were really good. There was the first monster from the swamp was interesting, and you guys were telling me once again like why his eyes turned black like that, and I got it. I'm like, okay, this is what they were telling me about. So thank y'all for that. But probably my favorite monster that he fought was the I don't know what she was, but he trapped her. Basically, she came out this tomb. She had no eyes, and she had like afterbirth still, like the umbilical cord still dragging behind her, and she was cursed. They really played a lot on curses in this, and he was fighting her, and there were times where he wasn't trying to kill her, but he had to defend himself because she was tossing him around at times, but it was how he saved her that was so cool. I'm like, okay, he does. He's not just a killer if he can, but I also love the fact that what I also loved about Jarl was that he would take a job, he would take the job, but he wouldn't collect his fee until the job was done. Call me old-fashioned, but I like stuff like that. Like, they don't pay me up front, because it's like, pay me up front, I'll just take it and I'll do the job first and then you pay me. This show is not for kids. I'm gonna keep it real. It is not for children. There's a lot of nudity, a lot of boobies being shown, some sex scenes in there, and yeah. I'm not even joking about that, but it was a lot of fun. It was so much fun to watch. The world of The Witcher really had your boy on edge, and also made me say to myself, I would say Hurricane is saying to myself, you better go back and play those games now, or go read some of the books, and I may just do that, But let's talk about one of the scenes that I did not like, and it got me screaming off the top of my head. So, Yennefer is with, I think, a princess or so. She's been assigned to watch over, be the mage for this royal family, and she's with this princess or queen. I think I wasn't really paying attention because she was just pissing me off so much. And Yennefer is seeing the little baby princess, and and then all of a sudden the carriage gets attacked, and we don't see what attacks until when they finally come out. We see this hooded man with this giant insect-like creature, and it just mows people down. So here's Yennefer and the queen or princess. She's like, run, and she's making portals, and they're teleporting everywhere, and they think they're getting away, and then all of a sudden the hooded man is there with his roach, his roach, or it was some kind of insect, but it just looked so disgusting. I was like, oh, like I would honestly, all I kept saying is like, I'd rather kill myself than let that thing kill me, because it just looks so creepy. And then there's a point where the queen or the royal, the queen or princess, whatever she was, I can't remember what she was. She was royalty. Basically, at one point, Yennefer just leaves her, and I'm like, Yennefer, what the fuck? Yeah, like, what the fuck you did? You just left her. Then this is the first time I was screaming. I'm screaming off the top of my head, guys, calling this woman a bitch. I'm like, you stupid bitch. Like, this fucking bitch. That's how mad I was with this woman. She basically says to the hooded man, take my child, but leave me. She was willingly giving up her child to save her own neck. And I'm like, this bitch. I'm like, she deserves to die. Kill her. When she died, I was like, thank you so much. This stupid bitch. Like, she was so willing to give up her child, sacrifice her child before her. Fuck you. I was like, fuck that chick. I was so pissed off. I had to pause the show for a while because I was so heated. I've never been so heated with a character before in a TV show like I was with that woman. I was like, fuck you, you stupid. You give up your daughter so you can live. I was so pissed. And the fact that the child didn't even live pissed me off even more. I'm like, yeah, guys, pissed me off. Throughout that whole thing, that pissed me off. But overall, guys, the series was great. The series was great, and I can't wait to the second season. The finale made me. I wasn't sad. I was more happy because it ended with something that was supposed to happen. If you haven't seen it, I'm not gonna ruin it, but it makes you smile. It's like, oh yeah, that's what it did for me personally. But everybody had an arc that mattered to me, especially whether it was Geralt, whether it was Ciri or Yennefer. They all had arcs that made sense, and it made me a fan. I am a fan now, and what this show has done for me is now has me more interested in reading the books and playing the games. I've seen the games, and I'm just like, and probably the reason why, because it kind of reminded me of Skyrim, and I'm not the biggest Skyrim fan, or World of Warcraft, and I was just like, okay. But when I see stuff, it's just like, but this really made me like, I like this. I'm so on board. I'm still a newbie at best, and then there's people out there that probably know more and are bigger fans than I am. And if there are people that's gonna come through and give me more info, that's great. Thank you. As the Omni Geek of New York, I always love to get more info from other Omni Geeks, from other nations, other states, things like that, and make me more of a fan. But right here and now, great. Henry Cavill did his thing. I'm not shocked. The man is good. And still DC and Warner Brothers, y'all, for not keeping this man as Superman. You should still keep him as Superman. But if not, he's y'all fucked up, not him. Well, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed my little overview of The Witcher Season 1. The swords play was great. The characters were great. The special effects were good for what they were. Practical effects were really where it was at for me, especially in terms of the monster designs. That's where it really was. And yeah, there was a dragon in it, so there were dragons, so it was cool. But just to see what Mr. Cavill can do with a broadsword, I think that was a broadsword, made my day. And I hope you guys, and I'm ending with that. Other than that, guys, you guys take care. Can't wait to see Season 2.